Thank you everyone for joining us today for the School of Nutrition and Dietetics webinar. Okay, so for the introductions, my name is Anna Martin. I'm an International Enrollment Advisor here at Acadia University, but I will be facilitating today's webinar. So thank you all for joining us today. We also have a few more people here today to answer all of your questions. So Barb Anderson is the director, and then we also have Lynn Coleman and Victoria Pike on the line here today. So if you all wanted to give yourself, if you can go back, Denise, yeah, thank you. Just introduce yourself for a brief second. So Barb.
Hi, I'm Barb Anderson, and I'll be talking to you in a few minutes.
I think you're still muted there, Lynn.
Hi, I'm Lynn Coleman, the admin assistant for the School of Nutrition.
Hi, I'm Victoria Pike. I'm an Acadia alumni, and I'm currently working at Acadia actually, but you guys will hear more about that in a little bit.
Great, so thank you all. So I'll pass it over to Lynn and Barb for them to talk to you about the School of Nutrition and Dietetics.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna, for that introduction and those pieces of information that I'm sure will be really interesting to folks. So as I indicated earlier, my name is Barb Anderson. I'm the director of the School of Nutrition and Dietetics, and I'm actually an Acadia grad a number of years ago. So when I walk the halls of the floors that many of you will be coming to, that is exactly what I experienced when I was a student as well. And Victoria too, when she talks to you about her experiences at Acadia. One of the things that we wanted to talk a little bit about is what are we all about? And so when you talk about the Acadia Nutrition and Dietetics program, you know, what stands out? And so for many of our students, what they say to us is it's all about food. And we have food at the center of our curriculum. It's a really big part of what we talk about. And so for us, what does that mean? Well, it means how food is produced. It also means our relationships with food, and that can be anything from getting nutrients, which obviously is one of the main reasons why we eat, but also some of the social needs that food provides us with as well. The other thing that we understand is that there's lots of information available on food insecurity. What are some of the issues why people don't get enough food? And the other area that's of great interest is food sustainability. And so the relationship of food to all things related to our environment and the earth, including climate change, which is obviously a burning issue for many individuals of all generations. The other thing we certainly talk about is eating for health. And that includes people who want to eat just to be physically active or because they want more energy, or also people who want to be as healthy as they can be if they have a chronic condition. So that can be anything from diabetes to heart disease to other chronic conditions, like even a celiac disease, those who can't tolerate gluten. We also have a really active food science component to our program, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but there's more also on our website about that as well. What you'll see here on this slide is actually some really good examples of supporting students through food and nutrition. And our purpose is indicated here. We are the go-to spot for students interested in learning about nutrition, food, and health. And as part of a team, we inspire and compel our students to learn, question, and develop into well-rounded, competent, independent food and nutrition leaders. We have a really strong curriculum that includes innovative and integrated approaches that enhance student and faculty visibility. The rest is about the faculty, so we'll leave that for now. But one of the things you'll see in the pictures at the top of this slide, the one to the left is students at the Acadia Community Farm, which is a really big part of the learning experience for students in our program, a place to grow food and really experience some of those things I mentioned before. The other thing that we definitely want students to do is develop research interests, and the middle picture is a fairly new food analysis lab that we have on campus that one of our food scientists, Dr. Matt McSweeney, actually runs. And in that lab, students are able to determine, for example, the amount of carbohydrate or fat or moisture levels in food. And then the other picture to the right is a very recent graduate, Susan Berry, who's just finished a master's degree as well. And Susan's now working in a community role, a community job. But here she is presenting at a national conference a project that she did in her 4th year. So we really want to make sure that students get the best experiences possible and to be able to share their learnings with a wider group of people. Next slide, please. So one of the things we want to share with you is what do we offer? So when people talk about Acadia, what are some of the things that are really important about what they've learned? And these are some of the things that they've told us. We have a first-year community experience. We really value community engagement, students stepping into the community and learning about local food, about developing partnerships, about communication, about problem solving. And here a group of students are offering a tasting to kids from 6 to 12 at the Wolfville Farmers Market. And this year we've done some revamping because of the need for physical distancing, but we will still offer a community experience and our partner is still the market. So we're really excited to be able to share that. The other thing that we offer in the picture down below is a suite of sports nutrition courses. And this is really exciting for students that want to learn about working with athletes. So we have 3 courses, a basic sports nutrition course, an advanced sports nutrition course, and an applied sports nutrition course. And so you build on your learning until you get to that last course where you actually work with varsity teams and the athletes to improve their performance through nutrition. So that's been an absolute wonderful partnership with both kinesiology as well as with Acadia Athletics. And the coaches and the students are extremely excited about this movement to support varsity athletes. This picture is actually a group of students in that applied course, and they're making some type, I think it was a banana date ball for one of the teams. So that was pretty exciting. We have very active student groups. This is Emily Finley, who is the president of one of those groups that I'll mention a little bit later. And it's a great opportunity for students to step into leadership roles. We have 3 very active groups that students can get involved in. And so, really encourage people to meet their fellow peers in the program, but also to develop the skills that working with organizations supports. And we have fantastic study spaces. A number of years ago, we had an upgrade to our floor, and we're in 4th floor Huggins, one of the buildings on campus, and we are now able to really offer great seating, meeting spaces, an area specifically for students with a student lounge, with a kitchenette, with a meeting area, and with private study spaces. So hopefully when you come to Acadia, you'll be able to see all of those things that I've mentioned. And I'm going to ask for next slide, and also Lynn's going to tell you a little bit more about our program.
Hi, everyone. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm Lynn Coleman. I'm the admin assistant for the School of Nutrition. So I'm the one you will hear about, or hear from, I should say, about your course registration, because all incoming students are pre-registered. I pre-register everybody in their required courses for the first year. And the courses that are there on the slide right now indicate what students take if they're coming in directly from high school. So basically in the first term, it's a human biology course, an intro chem course with a lab, human nutrition 1, food commodities, nutrition 1333, that has a lab component, and the intro psych. And basically the second term, with the exception of biology, is basically part 2 of the courses. So it's the second part of chemistry, the second part of the 2 nutrition courses, the second part of intro psych, and an English course. So anyone coming in straight from high school, everybody takes the same 10 courses. So there are no electives for you in the first year for you to worry about, or any course registration issues. If you're coming in from as a transfer student, those are done on a case-by-case basis. I will still pre-register everybody, but it depends totally on the transfer credits that you're given based on when the registrar's office and the admissions office process your admission and your previous transcripts. They look to see what courses you've already taken that can be given as transfer credits. So depending on what students bring in, the first year will look a bit different for them, but I send an email to everyone when they're registered, and you can see what your schedule is going to look like and what courses you'll be taking. The first year really is a really good blend of application, knowledge, and practicing your skills. There are 2 labs. There's a chemistry lab each semester, and there's the 2 nutrition labs, the food commodities 1333 and 1343. So you have 2 labs each semester, so there's a lot of hands-on learning. And as Barb mentioned, the food commodities lab, the 1333 lab, is getting a major upgrade this summer. They only started it last week. So we're all working from home. We haven't really seen anything yet, but at least we're not there working through the noise, because that's kind of disruptive when there's construction right around you, but it'll be so nice when it's finished. So we can't wait to see how it all turns out. So the pictures on this slide kind of indicate the first 3 years of our program. The top left picture in the lab, that's the food commodities lab. They're doing some type of a food experiment. I'm not quite sure what. Those 2 students in the lab coats. The middle picture is from our food and people course, which is a 2nd year course. And they, this past semester in 2nd term last year, grew tomato plants. And then they were donated to the local food bank as part of the end of term activities. So that was a really productive project. And then the bottom picture is a 3rd year course, Nutrition 3513, which is community nutrition. And they are working in groups, obviously, to work on developing how to develop a community and how to work together. There is a lot of group work in our program, either it was lab partners or just, you know, teamwork and working on projects together. There is a link on our website. I'm not sure if you can pull that link up, Anna. And what it goes to basically is the program outline for the whole 4 years. So basically you can see, if it comes up, what each year of the program looks like year 1, 2, 3, and 4, and what each term looks like, because courses are only offered in certain terms because of prerequisites. So if it doesn't come up, that's no problem. We can give you the link later. Okay. The other thing that's a possibility as well is doing an honors degree in our program. So you wouldn't have to worry about that for the first couple of years, because what it is in your 3rd year, if you're interested in doing honors, by then you'd be very well acquainted with all of our faculty and would be comfortable going to speak with them about their research interests. The faculty have varied areas of expertise, food sustainability, sports nutrition, as Barb mentioned, food science, food insecurity, trans nutrition. So if you were interested in doing honors in any of those topics, you would simply meet with the faculty member who's engaged in that type of research to ask them to agree to be your supervisor. And then you would do your research, your honors research in the summer of after your 3rd year. And then in your 4th year of the program is when you would complete writing your thesis. And then at the end, graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition with honors. So that's also a possibility. The other thing I just wanted to mention is you do require a minor for our program, for our degree. So a minor is 4 courses in a subject other than nutrition with a grade of at least a C- or higher in each course. So what we have in our program, if you do look at the website, you can see there are 4 required biology courses and also 4 required chemistry courses that are built right into the program. So if you were to get a C- in each of those, we call them built-in minors because you wouldn't have to do anything else. You could have a minor in either biology or chemistry or both, depending if you get the C minus. So you just have to get a C minus in four courses in one other subject. So that's just a degree requirement. We also have second majors that are a possibility. You can do a second major in nutrition with biology, chemistry, or psychology as a second major. So that's a possibility. You wouldn't worry about that until you're going into your second year. And after you have one full year completed, you would then meet with the head or director of the department that you want to do the second major in, just to get permission, and then that's the path you would follow. And when you do go on the website, the program outlines are there on our website for all of our programs. So all the second majors and the nutrition and also the dietetics option. So next slide, please. Yeah, so I was just going to mention, speaking about the dietetics option, for students who are interested in becoming a dietitian, and that's not everybody who goes into nutrition, because the Bachelor of Science in Nutrition is a very strong science degree, undergrad degree, that can lead to most anything else, anything that requires a strong undergraduate degree. We've had students go into the medical field, physiotherapy, even the legal field. So it's a strong undergrad degree. But if you are interested in becoming a dietitian, we do have the accredited dietetic education program, which is the first step in becoming a dietitian, is to get the accredited degree. And what we have for students who are interested in becoming a dietitian is what we call the dietetics option. So for that, the first 2 years would be the same. The courses would be the same. The differences would be in the third and fourth year. There would be more nutrition courses and fewer electives, because obviously there's more, if you're going to be applying for internships and practicums to become a dietitian, there are certain broader areas of knowledge and competencies that you would have to cover. So that's why there's more nutrition courses in third and fourth year if you want to become a dietitian. So that is an option as well. The degree you graduate with, regardless, is still a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition, but the dietetics is an option, and it governs the suite of courses that you take, but the degree is still the same. We also have a kinesiology option, which basically, I think Barb touched on it earlier. If students have an interest in kinesiology, by signing up for the kinesiology option in the second semester of your second year, you would then be able to take 15 credits or 15 hours, 5 courses in kinesiology that would otherwise be restricted to kinesiology majors. So it kind of opens up the gates for you to take a few kinesiology courses just to kind of dabble in that, and that's available to you for kinesiology. And also the consumer food option. If you have an interest in the food industry or food product development, the consumer food option would be a good choice to have a look at, because there are certain food science related courses that you would take in that option. And again, you would still get the same degree, but you would have the consumer food option. Getting back to the dietetic practicum, becoming a dietitian, we do have a practicum program at Acadia, which is strictly for full-time Acadia students. So it is competitive, as all internship programs are, to become a dietitian. But with our program, we take 11 students each year. And again, it's only open to full-time Acadia students. So it reduces the competition a bit, because outside students can't apply. And also because, and it gives you another option. I mean, students, there's still several other ways to obtain an internship or practicum, as it's also called. But this is just another option for Acadia students who are interested in going that route. And actually those photos, the one on the left is actually a few of our graduating interns. They posed there for a little photo after their graduation ceremony. The middle photo is the sports folks that Barb mentioned, they were doing something in our lab, preparing something for the athletes, I think, for you know, a nutritional snack. And then the other photo is our sensory lab, which is a 4th year required course, where students do, you know, do taste trials and taste panels, like to test out different products. And lots of times it's open to the wider campus community, and people come, faculty and other students come to do taste testing and to try out different products. And that right there, the photo is the booth where you go in. So it's all confidential, and you do your assessment of the product, and it's all very very up and up, and you know, it's quite a well furnished lab. It's one of the better ones that we've been told right across the country for sensory evaluation. And Dr. McSweeney, who is our faculty member who specializes in food science, and he is the director of the Sensory Center. So if you do go on our website, though, there is a lot of information about the sensory lab and the dietetic practicum program, can all be found on our website as well. So the other thing I just wanted to mention before I forget is that all first-year students, or all incoming students, I should say, are assigned to a faculty advisor. So you'll meet that person as soon as the term starts, really, in the fall, and that is the person that you go to for any academic advice that you might need, working out kind of different career options, or if you're having difficulty with anything on campus, the faculty advisor is kind of your go-to person who can direct you to, say, the counseling center or the student resource center or the writing center, depending what other support you're looking for. So they're a good resource to get to know them, and you stay with that person for the whole time you're at Acadia. So you do have kind of like someone to make an appointment with during their office hours, and someone you can go and have a chat with about anything. That is one thing at Acadia. You'll find that people get to know your name really quickly. The classes are relatively quite small, and especially as you progress through the program, the nutrition courses in particular kind of get smaller as you get higher up in the program, because they are restricted just to nutrition majors. So it would just be nutrition students taking those 3rd and 4th year nutrition courses, basically. So you do get to know people really quickly by name, and so yeah, that's another positive thing about Acadia. Next slide, please. So yeah, we are also really fortunate to have very generous alumni, nutrition alumni, who over the years have been very, very generous, giving the School of Nutrition and Dietetics funds for scholarships and bursaries. So in fact, this past March of 2020, Dr. Susan Sutherland, who was a graduate of 1970, her picture is there on that left-hand photo. She generously donated funds to start a new scholarship, the Sutherland Leadership Award. So all students are eligible for these scholarships and bursaries after completing 1 year of the program. So there's no need to apply for them. There's a committee in the summer, faculty, and they review all the student records from the previous year and kind of allocate funds accordingly. I mean, some donors, when they set up these awards, specify they want the award to go to a 4th year student or a 3rd year or a 2nd year. So sometimes there's criteria. For the bursaries, you'd have to be like financially on student loans, in financial need. So there are different sets of criteria that we have to pay attention to. But you know, there's a good number of students every year that we're able to give assistance to through the generosity of our alumni. So and again, there's no need to apply. You just go through the first year, and then from then on, you're kind of in the nutrition pool for these in-course scholarships. So so that way, you know, we're able to you know, help quite a few students financially for the following year. They put the money right on your student account. So that's how that works. Another program that we have access, our students have access to, is a study abroad program. So the university that we're affiliated with is Queen Margaret University in Edinburgh, Scotland. And students can choose to step away from Acadia for either one term, or sometimes they choose to go for both semesters, like the whole year. Generally, though, it's one term in the third year of the program. And by having our association with Queen Margaret University, we do have certain courses that have kind of been pre-approved that students can take that transfer back to as transfer credits for our program. So there are a few of those, and then the other courses students would take while they're abroad would come back as electives. So most students, I mean, aside from wanting to transfer these courses back, I think a lot of them go for the experience of either a term or two abroad, just to see the different ways of the world and study in a different culture. And that photo on the right is a student who was just giving a presentation, sharing her experiences after she returned from Queen Margaret. And all the students we've ever had go always come back with glowing reports of how they're so glad that they did it, because they just found it so enjoyable and really opened up their eyes to different ways of university learning and how things are done over there. So that's also a possibility in your third year, if you want to take a break from Acadia and just go for a term or two over in Scotland. So I think next slide, and I might push this back over to Barb.
Great, thanks, Lynn, very much. Lynn knows a lot about the program, as you can see, and she's a great person to ask questions of if you have any that you are interested in knowing, and I know Victoria will second that. Lynn's the one that gets the cards after the students graduate, so it's a pretty important person to know. So just to give you a bit of a summary, when you think about our program and what students have said about the Acadia experience and what's different about the School of Nutrition and Dietetics and doing a degree at Acadia and getting a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition, well, as I mentioned before, one of the things, and if you look at the upper left-hand picture, having an off-campus experience that really shows what the community is all about is very, very important to us. And that's something that not only is available in the first year, but every year of your experience, you have the opportunity to work with a community, which is pretty exciting. One of the things that we do, the next picture over on the top in the middle, is Cassidy Collins, and Cassidy was a teaching assistant this year. We actually had 10 teaching assistants that we hired last year, so students have an opportunity actually to have employment. And Cassidy's role was to integrate the Acadia Community Farm that I mentioned earlier into student curriculum. So almost a living laboratory, if you will, where students can learn about food and growing. And the example that Lynn gave of the tomato plant is exactly one of those projects. The next picture over is an example of one of the organizations that I mentioned earlier. It's called Change, Children's Health and Nutritional Growth Experience. And it's the students in the School of Nutrition and Dietetics that work with elementary kids to help to improve their physical activity as well as their nutrition. And a lot of this is through food. So by making things like sushi or spaghetti sauce or plant-based chili, this picture is actually the kids from the elementary school as well as from the School of Nutrition and Dietetics visiting one of the homes for special care in our community. So one of the other things is at the bottom in the left is the basketball team was invited to come up to our lab, the women's basketball team, and they prepared 3 or 4 dishes, some meals from home, some snacks, some on-the-go foods that would help to improve their performance. So part of that applied sports course that I mentioned earlier is actually food production with the varsity teams. And the center picture in the bottom is another example of Lynn's explanation of the sensory evaluation lab, where students are actually trained to be panelists, looking for specific food attributes. So that's a pretty cool thing to do as well. And then on the right-hand side is our soon-to-be retrofitted lab, but it's that laboratory in action as it looks now, but it'll look pretty different in the fall. We're pretty excited about that. One of our faculty members made a really cool comment, which is everyone eats, so food and nutrition will never fade out of fashion, and we sure believe that. Lynn started to tell you some of the careers that people can go into. As well, we've had students go into education to be teachers, pharmacy, research positions, food science and industry. We've also had people work in global health initiatives and also in journalism and communication roles. And Victoria will tell you about her job, which talks a bit about sustainability, which is pretty exciting. And then the last slide for me. So you can check us out on Twitter. We have a story to tell about our program, and so it's just at Acadia Nutrition. If you're on Twitter, if you're not, you can still check us out just by going to the main page of our website, and the right-hand panel is our Twitter feed. We have lots of stories. The ones here are about our relationship with the Acadia Community Farm. One of our faculty who has expertise in food sustainability has just done a podcast on ways that dietitians can be engaged in food sustainability, and also examples of some projects that students did at the end of the term to tell the story about some of their learnings in one of the courses that we offer. So there's lots about Acadia School of Nutrition that's really great. And I think hearing from a graduate of our program, Victoria, will tell you from the voice of one of our former students, even some of the things that probably Lynn and I can't tell you as well as she can. So thanks for your attention and look forward to your questions.
All right. Hi, everybody. Like Barb mentioned, I graduated in 2017, actually, so only 3 years ago. And I did do the dietetics option. So I am a dietitian, and I'm currently working as the manager of nutrition, wellness, and sustainability. So I work actually at Acadia University, but I'm employed by the food service operator, which is Chartwell's, but it's more so a partnership. Chartwell's and Acadia work very closely together. And as you can see, I have 3 kind of facets to my job description. So it's nutrition, wellness, and sustainability. So with that comes a lot of different roles. So first of all, I do some one-on-one counseling with students who need it. I do work at the meal hall, but I am a resource to off-campus students as well. So anyone who, has allergies, is having trouble finding something in meal hall to eat, or has a chronic disease, and they need to be seen by a dietitian, I can see them, and my services as of right now are completely free for any Acadia student. So that's one part of my job. I do group education as well, so I work really closely with the sports nutrition people that Barb and Lynn mentioned earlier. I work really closely with their class to help counsel some of our athletes. And then the sustainability part of my job is also really interesting. So one big part of my job is I'm in charge of the local procurement area. So we try to strive for 50% local foods in our dining hall. So that's kind of my job, is I try to get more local foods, and I track it as well to make sure that we are moving up to that 50% local food served in our dining hall. I do many other things as well, but that's just the 3 kind of main things. I do some menuing as well. But really, I just wanted to talk about kind of my experiences at Acadia, that this is where I am now, but how I got here is kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So basically, I'm going to go through a couple questions, and bear with me because I do have some notes here because I didn't want to miss anything. But so what my life was like at Acadia and Wolfville in general was, I had never been to Wolfville before I went to Acadia. So I did the 2+2 program with Memorial University. So I spent my first 2 years at MUN in Newfoundland, because that's where I'm from. And then I spent my second 2 years at Acadia University. And until I actually went to Acadia, I had not stepped foot in Wolfville. And I was blown away by the scenery, by all the local foods around. It really gave me an appreciation for sustainability, supporting local. One of my favorite parts of Wolfville was going to the Wolfville's farmers market. You get to meet the farmers, you get to meet the people that are selling the food to you, that actually are the ones that have made the food, which is super great. And that kind of is a reason why I was really interested in the sustainability portion of my job, is because of Wolfville. And something that I really like too is Acadia and Wolfville, they're just one big community. So the people that you see when you're walking the halls on campus are the same people you're going to see walking down Main Street in Wolfville, or the same people you're going to see at the farmers market. And you really get a sense, you wave to people that you've seen in the hallways before, and you make friends because you've seen them so many times, and it really is just one big community, which is something that I really, really love, and which really drew me back to taking a job at Acadia as well. And when I came back, that they welcomed me with open arms, and pretty much the same people that I had seen before. So that was great. Another thing is my favorite part of the program, and I think that Lynn and Barb kind of alluded to this earlier, but it's definitely the diversity of the program. So I did do the dietetics option, but there's so many other things that you can do with a nutrition degree, and I think that is ingrained in you from the second you start in the nutrition school. There's so many professors there with so many different backgrounds, and there's also professors that aren't dietitians. If being a dietitian is not something that you're interested in, then you can talk to Matt McSweeney, who is really into the food science and sensory aspect, or you can talk to Moji, who's into sports nutrition. And then there's professors with clinical backgrounds, research backgrounds, community backgrounds. So you really get to find your niche and what you like. And Liesl with the sustainability background was someone who I found myself talking to a lot, because that's what I was really interested in while I was there. Another thing that I really enjoyed about the program is it kind of pushes you out in the community. So there's so many projects that are set up that make you, go to the Wolfville school, elementary school, go to the farmers market and do projects, go to the nursing homes and do projects, and you're really being pushed out into the community, which kind of brings me to my next point, is how did it prepare you for your next step after graduation? Well, being in the nutrition school really taught me how to talk to the public, and I was really able to communicate with people that I wasn't able to communicate with before, because all these projects and this group work and all this stuff that we did while we were in classes prepared me to talk to people. Another thing that really prepared me for my next step after graduation was it really set the foundation for like what's expected of you in the your working world, which something that when I went to, my university in Newfoundland, was there was much bigger class sizes. So we didn't do group work as often, but when I came to Acadia, smaller class sizes, lots of group work. And then that made me realize that now, as a dietitian, I am working with people all the time. I am working in groups. I'm on committees and meetings and stuff like that, where I'm working with people all the time. So the group work definitely helped me be able to communicate with them, and it really set the foundation. And like I said, there's also presentations while you're in nutrition school. So I mean, I wouldn't be able to sit here in front of you right now because I was very shy when I started at Acadia, but all of this group work and presentations really set the foundation for me being able to sit here and talk to you guys today, because I was really shy and I wouldn't have been able to do that beforehand. Some of the opportunities that my degree presented me with was really the job that I have now. They were specifically looking for an Acadia alumni, and that is something that I think the alumni community has benefited me so positively. There's the larger Acadia community, alumni community, which is all of the degrees, and like there's the varsity athletes and all that. So I've connected with people that didn't even know went to Acadia, and then they say, "Oh, you went to Acadia?" I say yes, and then we get on a conversation about it. And the alumni association is very, very supportive. And there's also the smaller, alumni group, which would be from the School of Nutrition and Dietetics, which I still keep in contact with almost everyone that I graduated with. We've all went different paths. And like Barb and Lynn mentioned earlier, like there's some people that I graduated with that are working with Maple Leaf Foods as food scientists, or there's people working in long-term care facilities as dietitians, or there's people working in community settings as well. But we all have this space where we can still chat, we can still ask each other questions, we're still remain very connected, and we actually post recipes to each other all the time. We have a Facebook group. So I guess the School of Nutrition and Dietetics is very close-knit. And that's something that I've really benefited from after my degree. Something else that I've really benefited from is being able to still reach out to my professors whenever I needed to in the past 3 years since I graduated. I have sent Kath Morley a couple emails, asking her about research that she's doing, sent Matt McSweeney emails, pertaining to something that he's interested in, and I've still been able to be very connected with them, which is something that, they're there for you while you're in school, but they're also there for you after you graduate, which is something that I think benefits me very positively since I've graduated. So thank you, Barb and Lynn, for asking me to come here. And if you guys have any questions for me, I can write my email. I'll be here for the question period, but I can write my email also in on the side if anyone needs to email me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Victoria. I have just one question for you, if I can bother you, for just something that you would tell incoming students as speak on that.
Sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit. I couldn't hear you.
That's all right. I was just wondering if you could maybe speak on some advice that you would have told your first year self, or that you can tell incoming students, just kind of about, some advice, some tips to come into first year university.
Yeah, for sure. So something I would really recommend, and wish that I had known, is get involved. And, even sometimes if you have to push yourself to get involved, you should really do it, because I got involved with groups such as the Nutrition and Dietetics Society and CAFP, and I was able to meet so many more people because I got involved. And I think I didn't do this until like my third, fourth year, and I wish I had done it in my first and my second year.
Great. Thank you so much, Victoria. Just some future touch points for all of you. So this recording of the presentation will be available at acadiau.ca. I know that you can't click on the link that's there right now, but if you go onto our Acadia website and look in the search bar, academic webinars, those will be popping up. So this one will be posted within the next 48 hours. If you have any questions regarding admissions or enrollment, feel free to email acadiaforyou@acadiau.ca. We will be answering all your questions. And if you have some program-specific questions for the School of Nutrition and Dietetics for either Lynn or Barb, they'll be so happy to help you out. So their emails are there. Their emails are as well on the Acadia website if you need to find them, or you can also email Acadia for you if you're not sure who to address your question to. If I can have the next slide, please, Denise. So now we're going to do Q&A. So if any of you have any questions and you'd like to voice your question, you can write RH or raise hand in the chat option. If you prefer to just type it out in the chat box, you can do so, and we will address your questions. So I invite you all to write down your questions for us now, and we'll do our best to answer them. I'm just going to give you all a couple of minutes, just if you'd like to think about something, or if you have a question, just to give you some time to type it out.
Yeah, and Anna, if I may, one of the things that we often ask of students who come and visit with us is, did you really sign on for? What do you want to learn about the program? And so if those things haven't been answered, we're really happy to answer anybody's question. No question is too small, because if you have it, it's important to respond to. So, we're really happy to answer anything that might be useful. One of the things I just wanted to add to that Victoria had mentioned about the clubs, we are very, very lucky that students have an opportunity to build on their own learnings, as I mentioned earlier, but the clubs are all student driven. They're all through the Acadia Students Union. So that means that students have an opportunity to become presidents, vice presidents, treasurers, secretaries of those organizations. And the cool thing about Acadia is that if there isn't a club that meets your needs, there is an opportunity to start one. And that has happened in a couple of the examples that we gave today. Students saw a need and they met it. So that's pretty cool too. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a question there about honors thesis. And so if you're going, you do 2 years at MUN. Yeah. So Michaela, I think one of the things that we can certainly do is have a specific conversation with you. There are opportunities for students to step into honors, and it would be in your 4th year. So every November, we have a meeting with interested students, and those individuals actually get to identify what they might be interested in. There's a couple of criteria for getting into honors, but there are a couple of students that are in your situation that did their first 2 years at Memorial that have completed honors, one of them just this year. So no problem at all, as long as you meet the GPA requirement, express an interest, somebody's willing to take you, and you go to the meeting and hear what the expectations are. So I think that would be really helpful. Yeah. Lynn, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
We've covered it. We have had certainly students from MUN who've done the 2+2 program. I can think of 3 or 4 anyway, and like you say, Tim just this past year, who successfully completed honors. Yeah. So yeah, it's just you do it a little bit sooner when you get to Acadia, as opposed to your 3rd year. It'll really be after your 1st year at Acadia, which really is your 3rd year of the program after doing the first 2 at MUN. But yeah, it's certainly very doable.
And Tim did his on a really interesting food science topic. He integrated seaweed into bread because he wanted to increase the protein intake. And so at what level will people consume bread with seaweed when they find it palatable? And so that's what he determined through his many loaves of bread.
Awesome.
I see Danielle's put the link into our website and that's where you can find the information about the dietetic practicum program and also those program outlines that I mentioned. And there is one there for every combination, like the straight nutrition degree, the dietetics option, the second majors, and the consumer food and kinesiology. So yeah, I see the link is there in the chat box. Great. So thanks, Danielle.
Yeah, and if I might just, Victoria, there's one thing that I thought might be helpful. Like, people are always curious, particularly students going into a program, about job opportunities. And Lynn and I gave a couple of examples of job opportunities, and you spoke to your job. But when you think about the group that you graduated with and some of the people that you do hang out with, what would you say are the job opportunities in nutrition and dietetics these days?
Yeah, so most of the people I did graduate with, or my group, friend group that I had, they did go on to do the dietetics option. So there's several working in the community with public health. There's some working in clinical in Halifax as clinical dietitians. But I also have Heather Yancey. She's working with Maple Leaf Foods, and she's developing new recipes for bologna. So there's many, many things that you can do. I'm trying to think what else. I actually did a little stint at the Halifax Infirmary as well, working kind of more of an admin dietitian for a little bit. That was only a short little stay. So you could also do things. I guess a large part of my role that I left out was food service and business dietetics. So that's a lot with buying the food and things like that. I'm trying to think what else. There's the long-term care facility jobs as dietitians as well, which is huge right now. But there's also, the opportunity to work with sports, which is something that I've become very interested in as well. And then there's also opportunities to work, in research, and help hospitals with their research and things like that.
Great.
Great. So it doesn't seem like we have other questions right now. So I would think that this will conclude our webinar for the Nutrition and Dietetics program. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you to Barb and Lynn and Victoria for participating. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks very much.